Hey YouTube, it's Saint. I had a pretty popular series on YouTube here during Dark Souls 3's release, around, I don't know, a few months after. It was about invasions. It was called Learn to Invade. And there were a lot of people who didn't like Dark Souls 3 invasions because you were constantly invading into groups of players, which was that was a step away from the Dark Souls 2 standard and the Dark Souls 1 standard and the Demon Souls standard. People didn't like it, and they felt like it was unfair. So I made a little series called Learn to Invade, where I tried to go over like some tips and stuff that would maybe help people with their invasions. And you know, I think it did. It did a pretty good job. I get feedback from people even today who are like, yeah, that series really helped me learn how to enjoy invasions and play smarter. And people have asked if I'm going to do that for Elden Ring. And kind of, here we are. But one of the things about Learn to Invade that I didn't really anticipate, because at the time I was, I don't know, ignorant or naive, I guess, was if you start giving people tips on how to deal with gankers, gankers will also, you know, they can also watch the video. They can also understand those tips, right? And so since then, my YouTube channel has sort of turned into a bunch of just absolute nonsense ramblings, which is fun, and I enjoy making that because, let's be honest, do you really need a voice talking to you over, you know, invasion montage footage or whatever? You can simply watch my videos, and if you have the desire to learn stuff, you can pay attention to things I have figured out mechanically, and you can infer from the video, you know, how things work, and maybe, you know, try them yourself. I've often put little homages to things in my videos without just outright saying what is happening, in the hopes that maybe people might, you know, pick up on it, right? Because it's not my intention to give gankers like all of the tips and tricks that I'm giving invaders to use against gankers, right? So, and again, I have absolutely nothing against gankers. I love the gankers. The gankers give me something to do. You know what I mean? Without the gankers, there is no Saint Riot. So, like, thank you, gankers. Like, they exist and they help me, and you know, they are the other side of the coin for me. But yeah. So, you know, Saint, are you going to make Learn to Invade for Elden Ring? Well, I have to learn how to invade in Elden Ring before I can tell you how to invade in Elden Ring. And things are going to change. A lot of stuff will shift as weapon balance patches, things like this happen. A lot of stuff is going to change. A lot of stuff is going to be different in the future. If I made a video right now and it was like, Learn to Invade, how to deal with Rivers of Blood, and then next week they patch the game and Rivers of Blood does half the bleed up against players that it does against PvE, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, what good is that video? Right? It's not very good at all. I'm showing the same clip here because I feel like this is a good clip to learn from. This is a good clip to learn from. There's a blue who has shown up. I'm using a new build. It's my Beast Paladin. It's got like, you know, 11 faith, I think, but like with a talisman and stuff, we're up to, or maybe it's 13 faith, and with a talisman, I think we're up to 17 faith. 12 faith, and with a talisman, we're up to 17, I think. Anyway, mostly strength, a little bit of dex. Beast Paladin. Cool build. So our blue is using a very common setup. It bleeds me out. Right there, something important happened. What happened? What was important right there? What did I learn? What did I learn in that little exchange? Ask yourself, you know, what is Saint learning as these things happen? What am I learning? Yeah, it's a cool build. I really like it. I have a lot of fun with it. And I wanted to make like a Beast Paladin, and I also wanted to use the McKellen Knight Sword, and the McKellen Knight Sword is perfect for a build with a little bit of faith, but not much. because it doesn't have very good faith scaling, but it has a faith requirement. What am I learning? Did I learn something? That's a very popular setup that you just saw. And my build does not do a lot of damage. At all. Not at all. If you were using a better build than mine, which why on earth wouldn't you be? And you pay attention to what I just did to that very popular build, that very popular setup. And I'm not saying that you know, you have to play exactly what I just did. I'm saying you should see what I did and how I learned what was going to happen, and learn how to, you know, incorporate this maybe in your own playstyle. And that's only one setup, you know, that's just one very popular setup right now. That might change. Maybe that setup gets nerfed, you know, I don't know. But right now it's very popular. It bleeds you out in like 1.5 hits, and the L1s on that build hit you like twice. So yeah, it's a very popular build. A lot of people like to use that. And, you know, I am not a big, huge proponent of the just parry it, bro mentality. But a lot of times it works. If you know, like if you know what you're doing, if you know your opponent, if you have a solid read, the just parry it, bro mentality works. But my point is, when I beat that player, the blue from the last clip, with that parry, that is not, I'm not saying that you have to parry that build. I'm saying that's how this build dealt with it. But this build doesn't do much damage. If you pump out way more damage than my build does, and there's no reason you shouldn't, then your experience there may be different. You know, maybe you don't have to rely on getting that parry to win. But there were several key things that happened in that invasion that told me a million things, mechanically speaking. It told me about my opponent's build, and it told me what I had and what would work, etc. And those are things you have to consider. A lot of times when you lose an invasion, your immediate reaction is to say, man, that was BS, this thing's so busted, it's so OP, yada, and you put all the blame on the thing. Now, is the thing maybe really OP and busted? Yeah, it might actually be. But saying that is not going to help you ever beat it. And when you play average players, and I mean no offense to these people, I'm not trying to talk smack about that blue or anybody else. If you can't beat average players using strong setups, then you, like, what is your skill level at? And if you're fine with that, if you're okay with that being your skill level and you just want to enjoy casual invasions, then whatever. There's nothing more to say. There's nothing else to talk about. But there's like always some room for you to improve and to learn. And an average player using a good setup is not a death sentence. It's not necessarily the end all be all. Now, a good player using a good setup against me using a not good, like almost purposefully bad setup, yeah, it'd be pretty bad. You know, that would be bad for me. I might not win that one. And I'm okay with that, so I keep doing it. Right? I'm wearing the trick mirror so that when I invade, I'm not red, so I'm like fashion, you know? Like I'm like a lore invader, you know? I want people to think I'm like an actual character that they're fighting, not, you know, some try-hard whatever. If you want to be a try-hard whatever, that's fine, but that's not what I want to do, okay? My point is, I'm using this build, it's not great. I've gone out of my way to make it, you know, as good as it can be, but it's not going to be good. It's just using stuff I think is cool. If there was a Venn diagram of stuff that is good and stuff that Saint Riot likes, they're not mutually exclusive. There's huge overlap there. I do like some things that are good, but a lot of times the stuff that I like is just not good, but I'm still going to use it because I think it's fun. Now, I sit around and play this game all the time. I should be better than the average player, right? I do it enough. Now, I'm not saying everybody should be as good as me, and I'm not saying I'm that great. I'm just saying against the average player. I play this game 6 hours a day or whatever, you know, on stream, making videos. So, you know, of course I've got all this time in it or whatever. So I'm just trying to give you some of the experience that I have gained from playing the game so much. If you're looking for it, if you want to improve, if you want to not just blame the overpowered weapon, if you instead would like to, you know, improve your own playing, then here you go. I'm here to help you out. But, you know, I'm not saying that this is for everybody. I'm also, like, I know it sounds like I'm just apologizing for making this video, but that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to say, if you're chill with, like, where you're at and you want to be there, and you still can complain, you know? Like, you can still just gripe about how bad you think invasions are, or how overpowered everything is, yada yada. You can still do that. I can't stop you. But if you're interested in trying to win with your suboptimal setups, here you go. Here's a guy who wins with suboptimal setups against average players. And again, no offense intended, but in your average invasion, that's who you're fighting, your average opponent, the average player. And that's cool and good, actually. And it means that the game is healthy, and there's a lot of people playing it. But my point is, if you need help, if you're trying to learn how to deal with average players using good setups, here's a video with one, and you can watch it again if you need to. Later, y'all.